Let's face it, looking for parking sucks. You can never find a convenient space, and it's always a pain walking from the parking lot to your actual destination. And let's not even get started on looking for your car after you park. The main parking lot here at Elmhurst is no exception either. The parking lot is overwhelmingly large, measuring almost 900 feet across, which takes about 3 minutes for the average human to walk across. Mind you, that's only the walking time through just the parking lot. Not to mention students walking from parking lots to classes at maybe Old Main or Scheibel where the distances are longer, as those distances approach about a half mile walking or about a 10-minute walk. But not only is the parking lot overly sprawling, but it also requires extensive time to find a convenient parking spot. In a recent poll I conducted, 63% of commuter students reported taking over 5 minutes to find parking, which isn't very much on its own, but when you account for 50% of students not finding parking closely located to their classes, well, these additional time factors start to compound. Further proved by 36% of commuter students being late more than 3 times a month because of not being able to find parking quickly enough. However, these long distances and lack of parking are hardly the worst part, but rather the prolonged periods of walking next to cars desperately looking for a parking spot. In the same previous poll, 50% of participants claimed to be unsatisfied with the current state of the Alexander parking lot, and 33% also described their feelings of walking through the parking lot as negative and feeling unsafe, and even more concerning, 50% of people having reportedly nearly been in an accident, either as a pedestrian or a driver on several occasions. So, not only is the parking lot not only regarded as unsafe for pedestrians, but also for drivers, as 40% of drivers claim to also feel unsafe in the parking lot. The recurring issues with the school's current system for parking are clearly not effective due to the high volume of cars needing to be stored somewhere close to campus and the high volume of foot traffic surrounding these cars. So, I've come up with a few different methods for the school to help alleviate these issues, to make pedestrians and drivers feel more safe and comfortable, and improve efficiency and quality of life for students and faculty. The most effective way for the school to do this is for the school to develop currently underutilized land on campus already. This should be done through the creation of new housing dormitories in underutilized sites, or even the creation of new mixed-use developments combining housing developments with school amenities or resources. And my least favorite method would be the construction of a new parking garage. The most obvious locations for these new developments are located all over the campus. The northeast corner has housing available already. However, these housing options are deteriorating as they are very old, and future redevelopment projects could prove to be very effective. The northwest corner is pretty similar to the northeast corner, with housing already being mainly available. However, those are under similar circumstances as that housing is also deteriorating and in poor condition. Another potential site for redevelopment can be the school's current Alexander parking lot, as the whole parking lot currently has space for 658 parking spaces, and the reallocation of merely a quarter of the parking lot into a multi-story dorm housing has the capacity to serve hundreds of students. West Hall, the most modern and populous of the student dorms, located in the southwest corner of campus, currently houses 170 students, occupying about 24,000 square feet, which results in about 141 square feet per student served. The parking lot currently serves 292 people per square foot. This just shows how much more inefficient the parking lot is for maintaining student population. So, the conversion of commuter students into on-campus students would immediately relieve the lack of parking, assuming student admissions was kept the same. And if the school still wished to retain parking spaces, then they could rely on mixed-use developments, combining new building space with parking integrated into them. These new developments could be housing or teaching spaces, communal spaces, or administrative spaces, but just recognizing the possibility of creating a single or double floor parking beneath the buildings. This is a photo of a mixed-use development site at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. It's a grocery integrated with a parking garage, all under the same building. This is a photo of a planned development project at the University of Chicago. This is a 4-level parking structure with 323 parking spaces, a parking office, a meeting and community room, and support spaces for the adjacent field located on the ground floor. This is a planned project and is currently still in development. My least favorite method out of all the development projects would be the construction of a designated parking garage. These are usually expensive and aren't the best utilization of space. However, they would undoubtedly make parking more abundant, and the possibility for pairing the creation of a parking garage with other new facilities nearby and replacements of Alexander parking lot could be effective. Another possible development project could be the reorganization of Alexander parking lot to make it more pedestrian friendly. The following methods are not likely to increase parking capacity but would likely increase safety for pedestrians and drivers. An easy project that could be done to increase safety would be the increasing of signage in Alexander parking lot. The current signage for right-of-way coming out of driving lanes is on the pavement and fading due to weather conditions and repeated use. This leads to confusion between drivers on who has the right-of-way between those turning into the main arterials and the people coming out of them. Increased signage, like the one in the photo shown here, would make it more obvious as to which cars have the right of way. It is often that the cars turning into the parking lots become confused when cars are pulling out of the side arterials as to who has the right of way. This is due to the stop sign being painted onto the pavement. So, with the added stop sign as a more physical and visual sign, it makes it more obvious as to which cars have to stop and let the others go first. It is also noticeable that the addition of an elevated sidewalk would make it more easy for students to leave the parking lot instead of having to walk right next to cars turning in and out of the parking lot rapidly. And here are a few more recommended design choices by the civil engineers at Robson Forensic Institute. Most notable, they also explain the importance of elevated walking paths and unobstructed pedestrian walkways. As it stands, Alexander Main parking lot currently feels incredibly expansive due to the long nature of the parking lot. This, coupled with the extended pavement and what seems like ongoing cars and everlasting cars at times, can make walking through the parking lot feel very dreadful and not pleasant. To resolve this, the school can plant and increase greenery around the parking lot. Although, like I said previously, this is likely to disrupt already established parking spaces and would probably reduce the amount of parking spaces. However, the added trees and bushes between the cars, like the southwest parking lot, would make parking a lot more attractive and feel less expensive. Finally, the school could promote non-driving methods for commuter students. An example of this could be the Metro and Pace buses. The school is very conveniently located 2 blocks from Metro Union Pacific West train stop, the Lake Street 309 bus, the York 332 bus, and the St. Charles 313 bus. So the potential for students to arrive via public transit is vast. Another program the school could establish would be the creation of a carpool program between students. This could be very effective in organizing students who live close to each other and reducing the number of cars that the students arrive in. This program could be created by pairing students who live close to each other and allowing them to agree on a driver, and the school could compensate the driver who would be a student. The students can also decide between each other on the schedule, such as arrival times, departure times, especially considering that a student may want to arrive by carpool but may want to leave by alternate methods like the Metro. I believe this idea has a lot of potential and should be further investigated. Ultimately, I think it's important to acknowledge why we had this problem in the first place. The parking problem is due to the car-centric nature of Elmhurst and the suburbs, and it's important to see how distantly populated spaces create these inefficiencies where humans agglomerate. And in the book Urban Design by Ed Wall and Tim Waterman, they believe society should try to curtail these pitfalls of inefficiency and environmental destruction by embracing new social and living philosophies, like New Urbanism, in which humans are more encouraged to operate at a more walkable human scale. This means that humans are more encouraged to walk places and take more environmentally and spatially friendly forms of transportation, like walking, biking, and even taking the train. So, in conclusion, the most effective solution to Elmhurst's parking problem would actually be a combination of solutions in which car reliance is reduced and a further emphasis is placed on non-car modes of transportation, in which safety standards in the school's parking lot are improved, and in which the school constructs new facilities for new on-campus housing. And ultimately, I believe that following these ideas will increase quality of life for students of Elmhurst University, which will in turn increase higher productivity and higher rates of education to enable Elmhurst University to continue to compete with other top universities around the world.